Thank you for joining us today for the Elementary Academic Derby. We're featuring Northwoods and Richlands Elementary Schools. In just a second, we will meet the players, but first I'd like you to meet our scorekeeper, who is Brittany Norman, and I'm Pam Thomas, and I will be your moderator today. Now let's meet our players. Let's start with Richlands.
My name is Ethan Petch from Miss Mangram's class.
Casey Piggott from Miss Mangram's class.
Walker Smith from Miss Field's class.
Hi, I'm Jordan Coursey from Miss Mason's homeroom class.
Harry Pollock is the coach for Richlands. Now let's meet our players from Northwoods.
My name is Matthias Gregory, 5th grade, Miss Watson's class.
My name is Mark Young, and I'm from Miss Watson's 5th grade class.
My name is Natalia Nuno. I'm from Miss Watson's 5th grade class.
My name is Isla Nash, and I'm from Miss Watson's 5th grade class.
Shelley Newsom and Cindy Overs are the coaches for Northwoods. We've reviewed our rules and we're ready to begin. Northwoods, 7 questions to you first. The first question is in math. What name is given to the second and third numbers encountered in a proportion that are located in the lower left and upper right positions of the equation? Richlands? Ethan?
The ones in the tens place?
No, but I'm glad you made a guess. Means is the correct answer. Geography. Identify the U.S. state that entered the Union in 1864 as the 36th state. It is home to the region known as Area 51. Approximately 86% of its land is owned by the U.S. government, and its capital is Carson City. Mark?
Nevada.
That is correct. Great. Science. Unique to this planet are the features known as Valley Marianeris and the volcano Olympus Mons. Name this planet, also known as the Red Planet. It's their question first, Stacy. Aislinn?
Mars.
Mars is correct, and I bet you knew that, didn't you, Casey? History. Prior to the inauguration of Franklin D. Roosevelt in January 1933, in which month were presidential inaugurations held? Richlands? Casey?
November?
Not November, that's a good answer. March. Language arts. In the U.S. Army, a sergeant ranks above a corporal. Spell the word sergeant. Mark?
S-A-R-G-E-N-T.
That's incorrect. It's a great try. Richlands? Jordan?
S-E-A-R-G-E-N-T.
That's incorrect, but that's a great try. Y'all all got those letters in there. S-E-R-G-E-A-N-T. Literature. Believed by most historians to have been written by Homer, which long poem relates the adventures of the Trojan War? Richlands? And that would be the Iliad. The final category for you, Northwoods, is in trivia. In addition to directing the box office hit E.T. in 1982, this prolific artist released the fantasy adventure film The BFG in 2016. Identify this director of the box office hits Jurassic Park and Jurassic World. Richlands? Ethan?
Roald Dahl.
No, good try though. Steven Spielberg. Now, Richlands, 7 questions to you. History is the first category. Although his first prototype took only 2 days to build, his invention revolutionized agriculture and made cotton the king of the South. Who was he? Northwoods? And that would be Eli Whitney. Literature. Give the name of the Madeleine L'Engle novel that features a young girl's rescue of her father. from a telepathic being on the planet Camazotz? Ethan?
Cam Jansen, The Unsolved Mystery.
No, good choice. Northwoods? And it would be A Wrinkle in Time. Math. Elucid used a collapsible one that most of us would find difficult to draw with today. What is the mathematical tool still used today to draw perfect circles? Jordan?
A compass.
That is correct. Language arts. Identify the 9-letter adjective that begins with a B, which can describe a person who is intellectually gifted or the intense glitter of light. Casey?
Beautiful?
Not beautiful. Northwoods? And the word is brilliant. Geography. Which U.S. state was admitted to the Union as the 8th state, has a nickname of the Palmetto State, and has its capital at Columbia? Jordan?
Ohio.
Not Ohio. Northwoods? And that would be South Carolina. Science. Identify any 2 of the 3 kinds of movable joints in the human body. Any 2. Ethan?
Knee and elbow.
I'm looking for the type. And?
Buckle.
That's incorrect, but that's a good try. Let's go up to Northwoods. We're looking for the correct type of joint that it is. The ball and socket is one, hinge, and there is a mixed joint that's a little of both. Let's go to fine arts as the last category for you. In architecture, the 6-letter noun that begins with the letter F designates the front of a building and literally translates into the phrase false front. Identify this term. Ethan?
Front.
No, that's incorrect, but that's an F word. Let's move up to Northwoods. And the correct answer is facade. Now that's the end of round 1, and we'll be right back after these announcements, so join us then.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
When I get all steamed up, then I shout.
Tip me over and pour me out. Oh.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life.
Cheers.
Take time to be a dad today.
We're about ready to begin round 2. We have a score, very close score right now, with Northwoods 4 points and Richlands with 2 points. In this round, you know we have a bonus, so there's a chance to pick up a lot of extra points. We have new participants on both teams. We want you to meet them so we can get started. So let's begin with Richlands.
Hi, my name is Aiden Camaras from Miss Mangum's homeroom.
Hi, my name is Mia Matos from Miss Blondin's homeroom.
And let's hear from our new players from Northwoods.
Hi, my name is Mackenzie Morrow from Miss Watson's homeroom.
Hello, my name is Mackie Mosey from Miss Watson's homeroom.
And welcome new players. Ready to begin. Richland's first question is yours in literature. Irish orphans, Molly, age 14, and Kip, age 10, traveled to England to work as servants in an old manor house, and soon the siblings are confronted by an ominous stranger and secrets of the cursed house. Other than fiction, into which genre would this book be classified? Aiden?
Mystery.
Mystery or suspense. Very good. Here is your bonus. In the junction of Sunshine and Lucky, Augie and her grandfather utilized some found objects to transform the appearance of their home. In the process, they change a whole town's perception of beauty and art. What type of fiction is demonstrated by this book? Jordan, you need to give your answer to Walker.
Realistic.
Realistic it is. Good. Northwood science. Once natural or crude oil is removed from beneath the Earth's surface, What type of facility transforms it into oil products, including gasoline? I need to just caution you can't talk now during that question. I know you were trying to get someone's attention, but you can't talk. Let's go to Richlands with that question. And it would be done at a refinery. Richlands, math question, and you may need your pencils. The perimeter of a square is 40 centimeters. What is the area of this square in square centimeters? I'll repeat it. The perimeter of a square is 40 centimeters. What is the area of this square in square centimeters? Jordan?
40 square units.
That's incorrect. Good try. Richlands? Northwoods? Okay, the correct answer is 100 square centimeters. Northwoods Language Arts. A television is a form of technology that uses signals sent from far away to make pictures and sound people can watch. In the word television, what is the meaning of the word viz? Matthias?
To look, see, or watch.
That is correct. To see or to look. Here is your bonus. Change one word in the following sentence to correct the usage error. Peter, who you met yesterday is a police officer. Change one word to correct the usage. Peter, who you met yesterday is a police officer. Mackenzie?
Change who?
To what?
Whom?
That is correct. Very good. I'm sorry that really I should have had you give your answer to Natalia, so next time I'll remember that as well. History, Richlands. In the 1950s, many families left the cities to relocate in nearby towns or small communities that were close enough to afford them the benefits of the big city. By what name are these types of communities known? Northwoods? Suburbs. Geography, Northwoods. Of the states whose names contain the word North and South, which ones were admitted to the Union as part of the original 13 colonies? Mackie?
South Carolina and North Carolina.
That is correct. Glad you got that one correct. Here we go on your bonus. Of which Canadian province is Toronto the capital? It is located northwest of Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Michigan. Natalie, do you have an answer, Natalia? And Ontario is the correct name. Richlands, math question for you. Mrs. Jackson has just assigned her students problems 2 to 38. 2 to 38. All are on page 9 of their math book. How many problems total will Mrs. Jackson's students be working? She has assigned them problems 2 to 38. On page 9 of their math book, how many problems total will Mrs. Jackson's students be working? It's Richland's question right now. It's okay. Aiden?
36.
That's incorrect. Very good try. Northwoods? Natalia?
37.
How much?
37.
37 is right. Good. You don't get the bonus, but you get the next question. In the sentence, the fire sizzled and snapped, what figure of speech is demonstrated? Mackenzie?
Never mind.
Richlands? Jordan?
Onomatopoeia.
Onomatopoeia is correct. History, Richlands. In what name is the uniquely shaped room known that was proposed for construction by President William Howard Taft in 1909? Northwoods? And that would be the Oval Office. Northwoods Sports. The Jets have just scored 2 points by tackling a Seahawks player in their own end zone. By what name is this play known that results in 2 points for the opposing team? Matthias?
Safety.
Safety is correct. Here's your bonus. With which sport would one associate the terms foamies, wipeout, and hang 10? Okay, give your answer to Natalia.
Surfing.
Surfing is correct. Good. Richlands Language Arts. What term in the English language is used to identify letter groups such as IBL, OUS, shun, TION, that are added at the end of a root word to form a new word? Jordan?
Prefix?
Not prefix. Northwoods? Northwoods? Suffix. You were on the right track. Northwoods Science. A desert, savanna, tropical rainforest, and tundra are all major land examples of what type of plant and animal community that shares a large geographic area with a similar climate? Mackie?
Biomes?
Biome is correct. Good. For your bonus, one of the most complex of all organs, this largest internal organ of the human body, both produces and discharges bile. Identify this organ that also detoxifies chemicals, breaks down medicines, and cleanses the blood. Yes, ma'am?
Heart.
Not the heart, it's the liver. The liver. And that is the end of our second round, and we'll be right back in just a minute.
What are you, superheroes?
Just 4 brothers who hate bullies and love this city. Gear up, guys.
Thanks. We're back with our third round, and right now we have a score of 22 points for Northwoods, 10 points for Richlands. We know that the bonus passes with the question in this round, so you can really pick up a lot more points. Let's start our round right away because we have no new participants and we know that everybody's ready. The first question in this true toss-up is math. You may need your pencils. What is the product when the product of 23 and 46 is found? What number is in the hundreds place? When the product of 23 and 46 is found, what number is in the hundreds place? Aiden?
0.
0. It's 1,058 zeros in the hundreds. Here's your bonus. You're probably going to need to write these down. Place the following metric measurements in descending order. 1.12 meters, 12,200 centimeters, 1.1 kilometers, and 12,000 milliliters. And I'm going to repeat it. You want to put these in descending order. 1.112 meters, 12,200 centimeters, 1.1 kilometers, and 12,000 millimeters. It's their bonus right now, Mackenzie. Oh, that is so close. Missed it by one. Just reversed them. It's the kilometers, the centimeters, the millimeters, and then the meters. Very good. History. In private industry, when a strike takes place and workers picket instead of reporting to work, what derogatory name is given to those who choose to cross the picket line and work rather than striking? Casey?
Cons?
No, that's not right, but I'm glad you guessed. Northwoods? Correct answer is scab. Literature. Name the novel set in a not-too-distant future in which the United States of America has collapsed, weakened by drought, fire, famine, and war, to be replaced by Panem, a country divided into the capital and 12 districts. Iceland?
The Hunger Games.
The Hunger Games. I enjoyed those. Here's your bonus. Although she did not begin writing until age 65, her novels that describe frontier life are a favorite among both genders of readers. Identify this author, whose original novel was set in Wisconsin, but whose later books were set in the state of Kansas. Do you have an answer, Mackenzie? And that would be Laura Ingalls Wilder. Little House on the Prairie. Y'all remember that? Geography. When the state of Delaware was settled in 1638 by European immigrants, from which Scandinavian nation did the first settlers arrive? Its capital is Stockholm. Ethan?
Germany.
Not Germany. Northwoods? Sweden. Math. What is the specific common thread among these following fractions? 9/7, 18/17, 33/25, and 3/2. What is the common thread among the fractions? 9/7, 18/17, 33/25, and 3/2. Iceland?
3/2.
No, that's incorrect. Richlands? The common thread is that they're all improper fractions. Current events. Following the U.S. presidential election of November 2016, according to popular vote, which former Indiana governor will assume the role of vice president in 2017?
Mike
Ethan?
Pence. Mike Pence.
Mike Pence is correct. Here's your bonus. Based on a short book by J.K. Rowling, this November 2016, movie release is set in the same magical universe as Harry Potter. Identify this film that features Dan Fogler in the role of Jacob Kowalski. This is their bonus. Casey?
Fantastic Beast.
That is correct. And the remainder of that, if you were given the full title, would be And Where to Find Them. History. Among the branches of the U.S. government, which one is responsible for interpretation of the U.S. Constitution? Casey?
Legislative branch.
That's incorrect. Northwoods? Mark?
The Supreme Court.
That's incorrect. We're looking for the branch. It is the judicial branch of government. Here's sports. Identify the three-word phrase in athletics that is used to collectively describe events such as pole vaulting, running events, shot put, and both high jump and long jump. Ethan?
Track and field.
Track and field it is, and here's your bonus. Which event in track and field uses a spear-like tool that is thrown to a maximum distance by the competitor? Okay, Aiden, give your answer to Casey. Casey?
Pole vaulting.
No, it's the javelin. Language arts. In the English language, this two-word rhyming phrase describes a wooden or artificial limb sported by a pirate. What is this phrase? Ethan?
Peg leg.
Peg leg is correct. For your bonus, identify the verb in English language that begins with the prefix pro, which means to forbid by law or authority. Casey?
Forbidden.
That's incorrect. It is prohibit. On the right track. Science. During the early part of the 21st century, which planet was also found to have a layer of ozone much like the Earth's that shield it from harmful UV rays? This planet is often referenced as the morning star.
Venus.
Ethan?
Venus.
Venus is correct. Here's your bonus. In the human body, which organ contains a jelly-like substance called the vitreous humor between the lens and the retina? This organ connects to the brain through the optic nerve. Casey?
Brainstem.
No, it's the eye, eyeball. Math question. What is the more formal name that begins with the letter A for a clock that shows the numbers 1 through 12 on its face and that uses rotating hands to display time? Mia?
Analog.
Analog is correct. Good. Here's your bonus. What concept in math that begins with the letter F designates a relationship between two variables, one of which is the input and the other which is called the output? For each input, there is exactly one output. Casey?
Fractions.
Not fraction, but that's a good F word, function. And that is the end of our final round, and we will be right back with our final score and closing announcements. See you then.
Hey, did you know 2.4 million loving cats and dogs in shelters and rescues need our help to find a home? Let's go to theshelterpetproject.org and meet if you are in a shelter near you. Harlow, oh, she's one great listener who loves to hear all your stories. My kind of cat. Cerulo is a sweet, goofy boy who's eager to please. Sounds just like another dog I know. So go to theshelterpetproject.org, search your local shelters and rescues, and go for a cuddle with your next best friend. Adopt.
Wow, we had a great match today. Total of 50 points scored and ended with 2 points separating the score. Northwoods ended with 24 points and Richlands with 26 points. Big round of applause for yourself for a job well done. If you'll keep watching, we'll be right back with our second match, and we'll feature Belfork and Stateside. So hopefully we'll see you in a few minutes.
It's me, Artie. Come see what I collected from the Creative Galaxy in my idea box.
Transform your world.
Will you help me make art?
Each one of our journeys keeps us young.
Before you throw it away,
Hey, I have an idea.
think outside the box.
We'll never get older. Each one
Go be amazing!
Give your cardboard box another life. Recycle.
Don't worry, the 74 people were picked before me in the NFL draft. To fight childhood obesity, United Way and the NFL are helping kids play more. To donate or volunteer, go to unitedway.org/play60.
Now I get it.
Thank you for joining us for our second match of today. We're featuring Belfork and Stateside Elementary Schools, and welcome teams. We're ready to meet our players so that we can begin, and we'll start our introductions with Stateside.
Hi, my name is Joel Castro, and my teacher's name is Miss Warden.
Hi, my name is Megan Ronick, and I'm in Miss Warden's class.
My name's Lucas Conklin from Miss Mayberry's class.
My name's Taylor Burgard from Miss Mayberry's class.
Susan Holder is the coach for Stateside. Let's meet our players from Belfork.
Hi, my name is Josephine, Miss Montalvo, in Miss Clara's class.
Hi, my name is Emma Hagelgans from Miss Calabro's class.
Hi, my name is Timothy Edwards, and I am from Miss Clabber's homeroom.
Hi, my name is Gabriella Hoyt, and I'm from Miss Calabro's class.
And Heather Smith is the coach for Belfort. We're ready to begin. These teams, this is the first match that they're playing this season, so we know that they're anxious to start. Belfort, 7 questions goes to you. First, with history. Among my other discoveries, I created new products made from pecans, sweet potatoes, and peanuts. I lived in the South during the late 19th and early 20th centuries and headed the agriculture department at Tuskegee Institute. Who am I? Stateside? And that would be Mr. George Washington Carver. Science. In 1918, a worldwide epidemic of this contagious disease killed more people than died in World War I. Identify this illness characterized by high fever, chills, and bodily aches. Josephine?
Influenza.
That is correct. Math question. You may need your pencils for this. A recipe calls for 2 1/4 cups of flour for 3 dozen cookies. Marnie wants to make 9 dozen cookies. How many cups of flour will she need? And express your answer either as a fraction or a decimal. I'm going to repeat it. A recipe calls for 2 1/4 cups of flour for 3 dozen cookies. Marnie wants to make 9 dozen cookies. How many cups of flour will she need? It's Belfort's question right now, Megan. It's okay. Timothy?
81 fourths.
That's incorrect, but good try. Now, Megan, would you like that?
Yes. 6 3/4.
6 3/4. Geography. On the North American continent, 2 rivers combine with the Mississippi to form the 4th longest river system in the world. Identify either of these. Okay, now, Taylor, you can...
The Amazon River.
That's incorrect. It would either be the Jefferson or the Missouri. Trivia. Remember, these are Belfort's questions first, okay? Trivia. Which European nation serves as the manufacturing base for the largest capacity airplane currently in existence, the Airbus A380, that seats approximately 850 passengers with wider seats and more movement space than found on a Boeing 747. Stateside? And that would be France. Language arts. Verbs such as quiver, frolic, and exude provide what kind of detail to a sentence or short story? Stateside? Sensory details. Final category is in literature. Complete the title of the much-loved poem by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, The Song of Blank. Stateside? And that would be The Song of Hiawatha. Now, stateside, 7 questions to you. History, first category. 2 U.S. congressional amendments guarantee due process of law to citizens. The first is a part of the Bill of Rights, and the second was passed in 1868. Identify either of these 2 amendments. Belfort? Either the 5th or the 14th. Science. Give the 9-letter adjective used to describe any life process that takes place in the absence of oxygen. The correct response begins with the letters AN, A-N. Belfort? Correct answer is anaerobic. Language arts. Identify the four-letter noun that is a synonym with mirth and is defined as lively joy or merriment. In a school setting, it's often linked to a club, a vocalist, and was the title of a Fox TV show whose final episode aired in March 2015. Belfork. Glee. Glee. Trivia. What type of highly trainable bird has been utilized by the United States government in both war efforts and rescue missions and is used similarly by other cultures since ancient times? Lucas?
An eagle.
Not an eagle. Belfork? Timothy?
Dove.
Not a dove, but those are good answers. It's the pigeon, the carrier pigeon. Math question. You probably need your pencils, or at least I would. If three sides of a right triangle measure 5 meters, 4 meters, and 3 meters, what is the area of the triangle in square meters? If three sides of a right triangle measure 5 meters, 4 meters, and 3 meters, what is the area of the triangle in square meters? Lucas?
30 square meters.
That's incorrect, but I'm glad you tried. Let's move up to Belfork. Timothy?
60.
Not 60, 6 square meters. 6 square meters. That's one you need to take home and try, and do it with your coaches. Geography. Which Great Lake is located farther south and shares its shoreline with Buffalo, New York, and Cleveland, Ohio? Taylor?
Lake Michigan.
Not Lake Michigan. Good choice. Belfork? And that would be Lake Erie. Final category, literature. If you are a fan of mythology, you know the author of the Odyssey, which has been translated many times since its first publication. Name this author. Belfork? Homer was the author. Now that's the end of our first round, but we'll be right back with round two, and we hope you'll join us then.
It's not always easy being a dad.
Do you have panda asthma too? Does that run in the family?
This is the home of the most priceless kung fu artifacts.
But when you make an effort,
Dad, we're not supposed to touch anything. Oh, sorry.
Go long, son!
it's always worth it.
Whoa, master!
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
I am gonna get you. I'm gonna get you.
Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov to learn more.
We're almost ready to begin round two. We have some new participants we want you to meet, but before we hear from them, let me tell you, we've got a pretty tight game. We've got a tie score, and although it's only 2-2 in this round, you get a bonus, so you can pick up a lot of points, and you get to talk to your teammates during that bonus question. Now let's meet our new players. We'll start with Stateside.
I'm Nathan, and I'm in Miss Mayberry's class.
And let's hear from our new participant from Belfork.
Hi, my name is Aiden Donovan, and I'm in Miss Calabro's class.
Hi, my name is Anya Rothenberg, and I'm in Miss Blanchard's class.
Stateside, you received the first question. These are alternating. History is the category. Which U.S. president who served immediately after James A. Buchanan began a speech with the words, 407 years ago? Taylor?
Abraham Lincoln.
That is correct. And for your bonus, which barbaric leader of the Huns, nicknamed the Scourge of God, was defeated at the Battle of Chalons by the Romans and the Visigoths? Taylor, you have an answer?
No, ma'am.
It is Attila the Hun. Attila. Belfork literature. This American poet characterized the city of Chicago as the hog butcher for the world and characterized fog with the words, comes on little cat feet in his works Chicago and Fog. Who was he? And I'm going to repeat that. The American poet characterized the city of Chicago as the hog butcher for the world and characterized fog with the words comes on little cat feet in his works Chicago and Fog. Who was he? Stateside? And that would be Carl Sandburg. Stateside geography. What type of small map is found on the same page as a larger map and provides detail about a feature found on the larger map? Lucas?
A key.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
A key or a legend.
I'll take that as an answer, the inset map, and it can be a legend. Here's your bonus. When indicating direction, what collective term is used to describe the ideas of northwest, northeast, southwest, and southeast? Taylor, do y'all have an answer? And intermediate directions is the answer. Belfork science. Using the chemical symbols for silicon, einsteinium, and tantalum to spell a noun that means short nap in Spanish. Stateside? And the word is siesta, and it's S-I-E-S-T-A. Even if you didn't know those chemical symbols, you should have known how to spell siesta. Here's Stateside's math question next. A digital camera drops in price over a one-year period from $100 to $76. What is the average monthly decrease in the cost of the camera? It dropped over a period of a year from $100 to $76. What's the average monthly decrease in the cost of the camera? Nathan?
$2.
$2, great. Here's your bonus. Listen carefully to this. If 25 to the 1/2 power equals 5, and 81 to the 1/2 power equals 9, what number raised to the 1/2 power equals 7? 49, great. I'm glad you paid attention to that. Belfork history. Complete the analogy which is related to flight. The flyer is to the Wright brothers as the spirit of St. Louis is to blank. Stateside? And that would be Charles Lindbergh. Sports, Stateside. With which professional sport would one associate Shana Robinson and Danica Patrick? Nathan?
NASCAR racing.
NASCAR racing, good. Here's your bonus. Identify the American leader and team captain of both the Fierce Five and Final Five women's gymnastics Olympic teams. In 2012, she won gold in team and floor event, and 2016, she took gold in team.
Gabby Douglas.
That's a very good answer. That's incorrect. It's Allie Rasbin. Oh, we forgot about her, but Gabby's a good one too. Belfort Language Arts. In the sentence, be sure you have your brakes on when parking on a hill. What is the correct spelling of the word brake? Anya?
B-R-A-K-E-S.
That's correct. For your bonus, what plant's name completes this idiom that means to hear information or rumors about others? He heard it through the blank. Aiden, you have an answer for your team? He heard it through the grapevine. Stateside science with regard to flammability. What six-syllable noun that begins with the letter C designates how easily a specific material will ignite and burn? Belfork? Josephine?
Caution.
No, combustibility. Combustibility. Glad y'all are guessing. Belfork math question. You may need a pencil and paper. Solve the following number sentence or equation for n. 0.5n minus 4 equals 22. 0.5n minus 0.5n minus 4 equals 22. Stateside? Lucas?
N equals 52.
52 it is. You don't get the bonus this time, but you get another question. History. Sometimes an alien or immigrant to the United States must be returned to his or her home country. In our government, what term designates this process? The correct response begins with the letters DE. Belfork? Anya?
Deporting or deportation?
I'll take that. Deporting, deportation, deporting. Here's your bonus. In the U.S. Constitution, what types of powers are given to the states as outlined in the 10th Amendment? Aiden, do you have a guess for your team? It's reserve powers. Belfork, next question. No, wait a minute. I wasn't supposed to give you that, was I? No. I was not supposed to give you the bonus question, so there's no harm, no foul on that one. Belfork, literature next. What is the name for the character who tells the story to the reader or the audience in a work of fiction? Josephine?
Narrator.
The narrator. Here is your bonus. In a work of fiction or nonfiction, what name is given to a concrete object used to represent an idea or characteristic necessary to the development of the story? You have an answer? Okay, the correct answer is symbol. And that is the end, and we will be back in just a minute to begin round 3, which is my favorite round. See you then.
This is the moment I knew. His future had no boundaries.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org.
Thank you for joining us for round 3. We have a score separated by 8 points right now. Belfork has 8 and Stateside has 16. Both teams know we have the bonus and a penalty in here, so it's a chance to rack up a lot of points. We don't want to see that penalty, though, at all. Let's start with the truth toss-up question of geography. What 4-letter word can precede the word out to identify a depression in a land surface caused by wind erosion? Correct answer is blow. Math question. With regard to triangles, what is the name for the segment of a triangle that is perpendicular to the base and is sometimes called the height? Nathan?
Vertice?
No, that's a good try. How about Belfork? Timothy?
Isosceles?
No, altitude. Altitude. You'll need to remember that when you're thinking of the formula for area. Science. When electricity flows in a closed path, what technical term is used to designate the path? Anya?
Lightning rod?
Not lightning rod. It'll cause one, though. Let's go down to Stateside. Lucas?
A circuit.
A circuit is correct. And here is your bonus. Some rocks have a tendency to break naturally along a line or plane, which makes them desirable for building material. Identify the science term associated with this characteristic. Lucas?
Erosion.
No, the correct term is cleavage. Glad you're guessing. Trivia. In a play, film, or television program, actors must learn their lines prior to performance. What type of written document that also includes the lines of other actors do they use in the process? Taylor?
A script.
A script. And I think your partner there knew that as well. Bonus question. While the director of a movie oversees the behavior of the actors involved in the creation of the film, which professional oversees the planning and organization of the film, often including financing? Taylor, give your answer to Lucas.
The director.
It is the producer. Language arts. Place all appropriate commas. This is long now. Place all appropriate commas in the following sentence that contains dialogue. Mrs. Jackson remarked, "Yes, children, we are planning a party for the holidays," before she assigned our math homework. I'm going to repeat it. Mrs. Jackson remarked, "Yes, children, we are planning a party for the holidays," before she assigned our math homework. Megan?
2.
No, that's not correct. Let's go. Timothy?
3.
No, that's almost. After remarked is 1, after yes, after children, and after holidays. That was pretty long, I think, for you to do in that short amount of time without writing it down. We're seeing it. Let's go to language arts again. Which Latin expression is used in writing to mean "and other things" or so forth? Its abbreviation is ETC, and I want you to spell the words. Gabriella?
Etc.
Okay, and you need to spell that.
ECETERCA.
Say that a little louder. I don't think you got that correct, but I'm going to give you a chance.
ECERCIA.
That's incorrect. That's a great try. Megan?
ECETERA.
Repeat that again.
CETERA.
Okay. I don't think you got it correct, but we know in the back they can hear you better than I can. ETCETERA. And I think you left out the ET part. Good tries, y'all. Glad y'all are guessing. Science. Within a digital essay or a PowerPoint presentation, what type of link allows the presenter to access a website directly from the page or slide upon which he is working? Hyperlink. It's usually in a different color. Math question. What 3-letter term that begins with an A designates a portion of the circumference of a circle? Anya?
Area?
Not area. Stateside? Arc. History. Based on the philosophy of an eye for an eye, which 18th century BC Babylonian king created the world's first legal code? The correct response begins with the letter H. And that would be Hammurabi. Literature. With which classic children's novel by Roald Dahl would one associate the names Verica Salt, Mike Teavee, and Augustus Gloop? Taylor?
Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
That is correct. Your bonus, in Louisa May Alcott's Little Women, the four sisters' surname is March. What are their first names? And that would be Meg, Jo, Beth, and Amy. Let's move to geography. Among the many nicknames of America's major cities, which one is known as the city of brotherly love? Timothy?
New York.
Not New York. Good try. Stateside? Philadelphia. Math question. If Eric finishes a race in 3 minutes and 28 seconds, and Thomas finishes the race in 4 minutes and 15 seconds, by how many seconds did Eric win the race? If Eric finishes a race in 3 minutes and 28 seconds, and Thomas finishes the race in 4 minutes and 15 seconds, how many seconds did Eric win the race? Timothy?
87.
That's incorrect, but that's a great try. Megan?
73.
No, 47 seconds. 47. I'm glad you're trying, gang. Fine arts. With which artistic movement that sought to unlock the imagination is the artist Salvador Dali associated? His works include Persistence of Memory, which features melting clocks. What do we call that artistic movement? Megan?
Time lapse.
Nope, nice try. Belfork? Surrealism is the correct answer. History. Among the U.S. coins, which one currently features Thomas Jefferson? Timothy?
Nickel.
The nickel, great. Here's your bonus. This outlaw was killed by Pat Garrett near Fort Sumner, New Mexico in 1881. Although his birth name was Henry McCartney, he also went by the name William H. Bonney. What was his better known nickname? Aiden? Okay, Billy the Kid. Trivia, and we won't get to that question until next time because that's the end of round 3. If you'll stay tuned, in just a few minutes we'll be back with our final score.
Alvin and the Chipmunks want to remind you, bacteria can hide in food and make you ill.
Wow.
But you can keep bacteria from ruining your day with 4 simple steps. Clean.
I'm waiting for the rinse cycle.
Separate. Cook. And chill.
We chipmunks are notoriously tidy.
Check your steps. The road trip to food safety starts at foodsafety.gov.
This team really did super. This was the first matches that they've done, so I think they did a great job. We ended with a score of 10 points for Belfork and 22 points for Stateside. And of course, I like to end with a big round of applause for yourselves because you did all the work and a super job. Thank you for watching, and if you will, stay tuned. We'll have a third match today, and we will feature Meadow and Stateside, so hopefully you'll join us in a few minutes. thank you for joining us for our third match today. We have Meadowview and Stateside Elementary Schools, and we're ready to meet our players so we can begin. So we'll start our introductions with Stateside.
My name is Joel Castro, and I am from Miss Warden's class.
Hi, I'm Megan Ronick, and I'm from Miss Warden's class. I'm Lucas Conklin from Miss Mayberry's class.
I'm Taylor Burgard from Miss Mayberry's class.
Susan Holder is the coach for Stateside. Let's meet our Meadowview players.
Hi, I'm Demetria from Miss Shepherd's class.
Hi, I'm Aubrey Pincus from Miss Shepherd's class.
Hi, I'm Remington Tarrant from Miss Hall's 5th grade class.
Hi, I'm Brian Thrasher from Miss Shepherd's 5th grade class.
Stephanie Humphrey and Christy Spain are the coaches for Meadowview. 7 questions will go to Meadowview first, then 7 will go to Stateside. Teams ready? Okay. Math question first. Jordan just squared a number and the result was 0.0049. What number did Jordan multiply by itself? He just squared a number and the result was 0.0049. What number did Jordan multiply by itself? Stateside? Lucas?
7/100.
That is correct, 7/100, 0.07. Language arts. In medieval times, poets who wrote and sang ballads of love and knighthood were known by what 9-letter noun beginning with the letter T? Stateside? Troubadour is the correct name. History. Although it only took 2 minutes to be delivered, this speech is one of the most poignant and memorable in American history. What was the name of this speech that took place at the dedication of a national cemetery and was given by Abraham Lincoln? Stateside? Lucas?
The Speech of Gettysburg.
That is correct, the Gettysburg Address. Science. A rod or shaft around which a wheel or gears turn is known by what 4-letter noun? Stateside? An axle. Current events. Which musical group was awarded the Vocal Duo of the Year in in the October 2015 Country Music Award presentations? Their name is shared by 2 southern states. Stateside? The Florida-Georgia line. Good country music. Geography. After passing through Cairo, Egypt, this river empties into the Mediterranean Sea. Name this African river along which the Aswan High Dam is located and which lays claim to being the longest river in the world. Aubrey?
The Nile River.
The Nile River, good. Literature. Jump in when you know my name. I am the queen of the Olympian gods in Greek mythology, and I am the goddess of women, marriage, and childbirth. Taylor?
Hera.
Hera. 7 questions, Stateside. Language arts. Although not ethical, what type of ideas or statements that are often false or exaggerated are spread in order to help a cause, a political leader, or a government with a specific agenda? Taylor?
Persuasion.
No, that's incorrect. It's a type of persuasion, though. Let's go to Meadowview. Bryant?
A speech.
No, it's propaganda. Propaganda is the name that you call that. And we've heard a lot of it lately. History. When Chester A. Arthur served as U.S. President, he signed in 1882 the first significant law limiting immigration to the United States. Known as the Exclusion Act, This law targeted which specific ethnic group of laborers who helped build many of our nation's railroad tracks? Meadow, and that would be China. A lot of Chinese immigrants worked on the railroad building it. Trivia. Which U.S. holiday is formally observed on the third Monday in January? Taylor?
Martin Luther King Jr.
That's a great one. Glad you didn't miss that. Science. In a region, this type of wind blows more often from one direction than from any other direction. Identify the name for this type of wind that frequently results in a directional bend in young trees. Taylor?
A hurricane?
Not a hurricane. We're looking for the type of wind. Let's go up to Meadow. It would be prevailing winds. Prevailing winds. Literature. Identify the kind of animal that, according to legend, rescued Romulus and Remus after they were thrown into the river. Lucas?
A dog.
Not a dog. Meadow? Bryant?
A lion?
Not a lion, a wolf, a female wolf. Geography. How many time zones, each of 15 degrees longitude in width, is the globe divided? Lucas?
4.
Not 4. Meadow? 24. Now, math is the final category. The vertex angle of an isosceles triangle measures 62 degrees. Find the measure each of the two base angles. The vertex angle of an isosceles triangle measures 62 degrees. Find the measure of each of the two base angles. Meadow? And the correct answer, they would each be 59 degrees. And that is the end of our first round, and we'll be right back with our second one in just a second.
They call me Maxie, but I prefer tripod. I was your above-average four-legged homie, and then wham, bam, minivan. Some people pity me. Now that's lame. I still run, fetch, and swim. And the ladies love me. I'm the ultimate wingman. Just don't ask me to high five.
Thank you for joining us for the second round today. We have a score right now separated by 6 points, with Meadow with 2 and Stateside with 8. We know in this round you do have a bonus question, so you can always pick up a few extra points. We have new participants we'd like you to meet so we can begin this round. We'll start the introductions with Stateside.
I'm Nathan from Miss Mayberry's class.
And is that the only new person for this round? Good. Let's go up to the top and let's have Meadow and meet their new player.
Hello, my name is Madison Ford and I'm in Miss Shepherd's 5th grade class.
And welcome both teammates, Nathan and Madison. Stateside, first question's yours, and it's in trivia. Of the 50 U.S. states, which one's quarter was released in 2007 and features 2 trains and a golden spike? Meadow? And that would be Utah. Meadow language arts. In this sentence, after the storm, hundreds of starfish washed up on the beach. What is the simple subject? Stateside? Taylor?
The starfish.
No, that's a good try. Hundreds. Stateside science. This chemical element belongs to a group of elements called nonmetals. It lies between carbon and oxygen on the periodic table of elements and makes up about 78% of the atmosphere by volume. Name this element. Taylor?
Nitrogen.
It is nitrogen. Here is your bonus. In astronomy, this building houses the telescopes used by astronomers to study the sun, planets, stars, and other heavenly bodies. Identify the name for this type of facility.
The observatory.
That is correct. Good. Meadowview math question. Convert the fraction 7/25 into its decimal equivalent and state your answer using correct place value. Convert the fraction 7/25 into its decimal equivalent and state your answer using correct place value. Stateside? Lucas?
2800ths.
2800ths is correct. Good. Stateside history. Often called the father of New France. This explorer founded the Canadian city of Quebec and has a New England lake that bears his name. Who was he? Meadowview? Madison?
Napoleon.
No, nice try. Samuel de Champlain, and the lake is Lake Champlain. Meadowview literature. What three-word phrase is used to designate the mode of narration that an author employs to let the readers hear and to see what takes place in a story, a poem, or an essay? Stateside? Point of view. Stateside geography. In 1624, Dutch settlers founded this eastern city that is home to the United Nations building. Identify this city whose nickname is the Big Apple. Lucas?
New York.
New York City is right. Here's your bonus. Home to the Aswan High Dam and Lake Nasser. Which river found on the African continent is the longest in the world? We've had that question a while ago, so I'm going to give you another bonus, okay, to make that fair since you were here. This is going to be a math question for your bonus. If Lainey has $25 in savings and spends 1/4 of it on books at the book fair, how much money does she have remaining? She has $25 in savings. She spends 1/4 on books at the fair, book fair. How much money does she have remaining? It's their bonus. Okay, the correct answer for that is $18.75. Math, Meadowview. Which unit of metric measure would be the best choice to measure the width of a standard-sized textbook? Remington?
Perimeter?
How much?
Perimeter?
No, that's incorrect. Stateside? Lucas?
Volume?
No, centimeter. We're looking for the unit of metric measure. Stateside trivia. This imaginary belt in the sky that includes the paths of planets is divided into 12 constellations or signs, each with a special name and symbol. What is the collective term for this belt? Taylor?
The Milky Way?
Not the Milky Way, but that's a good try. Meadowview? Madison?
The Northern Lights?
No, the Zodiac. The Zodiac. That was kind of tricky, wasn't it? Let me flip a page here and I'll give you the next question, which will go to Meadowview. History. Beginning near Independence, Missouri and ending near Fort Vancouver in the Pacific Northwest, this trail was the longest of the great overland routes used by the people during the westward expansion of the United States. Identify this trail. Aubrey?
The Trail of Tears.
Not the Trail of Tears. Meadowview? Stateside? Correct answer is the Oregon Trail. Oregon Trail. Sports, Stateside. Similar to the game of pool, this sport uses only 3 balls and a more complicated scoring system than pool. Identify the sport whose name begins with the letter B. Meadowview? Aubrey?
Baskets.
No, billiards. Billiards. Glad y'all are guessing, team. Meadowview language arts. Identify the 9-letter noun that designates the movable articles such as tables, chairs, desks, or cabinets that are used in a house or an office. Stateside? Furniture. That was so simple, we thought it was hard. Stateside, science. Derived from 2 Greek words that mean 8 feet. Which sea creature is composed of a beak, siphon, and tentacles? Lucas?
Octopus.
Octopus. Here's your bonus. By what type of asexual reproduction do bacteria reproduce? Have an answer, Taylor? Binary fusion. Literature, Meadowview. Into which specific literary genre would Abraham Lincoln's Gettysburg Address be placed? Madison?
History.
Not history. Let's go down to Stateside. Taylor?
Nonfiction.
No, speech. Would be classified as a speech. Stateside, language arts. In the sentence, my mom and I prefer mayo on our hamburgers. However, my father prefers mustard. Between which 2 words will the semicolon be placed? I'm going to repeat it. We're looking for which 2 words will the semicolon be placed. My mom and I prefer mayo on our hamburgers. However, my father prefers mustard. Lucas?
However am I.
That's incorrect. Good try. Meadowview? Madison?
After, however.
No, hamburgers and however. Hamburgers, then semicolon, however. And that is the end of our second round, and we will be right back in just a few minutes.
I'm Anne. I'm a scientist.
Recycling takes a team.
Why don't you let me
And me.
help you out?
Everyone plays a part. Don't trash
I love taking stuff apart and building new things out of it.
what could be treasure.
Pal's my most advanced android.
This is awesome.
You haven't seen anything yet.
Give your cardboard box another life. Recycle.
Thank you for joining us for the third round. We're ready to begin. These are true toss-up questions, and any team member may ring in. We know the rules about the interrupt penalty and the bonus passing with the question, so it's a chance to really get a lot of points. Math is the first toss-up. Using the distributive property, simplify 9 open parentheses 5b plus 3 close parentheses. Using the distributive property, simplify 9 open parentheses 5b plus 3 close parentheses. Lucas, it seems like you're ready to ring in. Okay, Lucas.
72B.
I want you to, no, that's incorrect. We'll go up here, and I want to remember, y'all need to listen to the questions, okay? Because it's a little different than solving something. Do you have an answer, Meadowview? The correct answer is 4 times the quantity 9b plus 2. It was to simplify it using the distributive property. If you'd read it, I think you would have been able to have gotten that. Geography. Brazil is the largest country in South America. What is the name of the smallest country on that continent? Its capital is Paramaribo. The answer is Suriname. History. Identify the collective names of the two powers that eventually formed in the World War that began in 1939 when Germany invaded Poland. Collective names of the two powers. Remington?
Nazi and Soviet Union?
No, that's a good try. Stateside? The Allied powers and the Axis powers were the ones that formed the war. Trivia. This African-American singer was the first female to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1987. Identify this multiple Grammy winner nicknamed the Queen of Soul. Madison?
Whitney Houston.
Not Whitney Houston, but that's a very good try. Stateside? Aretha Franklin. Science. Inside what plant cell structure does chlorophyll reside? And that would be the chloroplast. Fine arts. Which German Baroque composer was raised by his brother, a church organist, after the death of their parents? His works include the Brandenburg Concertos and over 200 surviving cantatas. And that would be Johann Sebastian Bach. Language arts. What type of usage error is demonstrated in the following statement? At the movie, Sam stood up and drops his popcorn everywhere. At the movie, Sam stood up and drops his popcorn everywhere. Madison?
Stood.
That's incorrect. Let's go to Stateside. Nathan?
Drops.
No, it is an agreement error. It's a verb tense error. Science. In the process of engineering, when a person breaks down a complex problem into its simpler parts so it is more easily understood, what term that begins with the letter A is being used? Analysis or analyze. Math question next. Which fraction with a denominator of 15 is equivalent to the fraction 72/90ths? Which fraction with a denominator of 15 is equivalent to the fraction 72/90ths? Nathan?
12/15.
That is correct. Great. Here is your bonus. Linda's rectangular garden measures 6 feet by 8 feet. If a measuring tape is stretched from the southwest corner to the southeast corner of the plot, how long will the distance measure? Lucas, you have a guess?
24.
No, 10 feet. Think of the Pythagorean theorem with that diagonal line. History. During the time spent at this location, the Continental Army's headquarters was the home of Isaac Potts. Identify the site where George Washington's troops overwintered from 1777 to 1778. Madison?
Boston.
Not Boston. Stateside? Valley Forge. Literature. In The Once and Future King, which wizard is hired by Sir Ector to tutor a boy called the Wart? Merlin. Geography. As a vast contributor to high-tech business in the United States, this region of California is home to many startup and global technology companies, including Apple and Google. Identify this region whose titles includes a geographic landform and a chemical element. That would be Silicon Valley. Math question. What is the more formal term that begins with the letter R, which identifies the number formed when the numerator and denominator of a fraction are interchanged? Remington?
Reduce.
Sorry?
Reduce.
No, not reduce. How about Stateside, Megan?
Rounded.
No, the reciprocal. Remember, like the reciprocal of 1/2 is 2/1. Trivia. Which 2016 movie release features the characters Poppy, the happiest creature ever born, and Branch, the overly cautious curmudgeon with a good heart? Nathan?
Trolls.
Trolls. I should have known that a guy would answer that. Here's your bonus. In the 1940s Disney movie Fantasia, as which character does Mickey Mouse appear? You have an answer, Lucas? When I tell you this answer, you're going to say, oh, I know. If you know the answer, you tell him.
Mouse.
No, it's the Sorcerer's Apprentice. History. The Tuskegee Airmen, a segregated group of African-American pilots, played a critical role in this war when they bombed dictator Benito Mussolini's Italy. Identify the war. Taylor?
World War I.
Not World War I. Bryant?
The Vietnam War.
No, World War II. And that is the end of our final round, and we will be right back with our closing score and announcements. See you then.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
We had a pretty exciting match, and I want to tell you that I really appreciate all of you answering and trying those questions. They're pretty tough questions, even for some of us adults who are here. We ended with a score of Meadowview with 2 points and Stateside with 24 points. I'd like to hear a big round of applause for yourselves. You did a good job. We certainly appreciate you watching, and we hope that you will join us next week. We will feature, not next week, I think we're going to skip a week. We'll feature Richlands and Stateside, Bell Fork and Northwoods, and Meadowview and Northwoods Elementary. From all of us here at Onslow County Schools, thank you for watching. Have a great day, and we'll see you later.